Hi, Greg Hughes from 90-Second Website Builder. I want to show you a feature in the software that will make your web page design process be a lot better. There's a feature called FontAwesome. FontAwesome is a library of objects that appear to be images, but technically they're not images. They are a font, and they can sort of lighten the load, if you will, on your page if you use them. If you're looking for some kind of a symbol or icon to build into your page, FontAwesome is just a great way to do that. So I'm going to show you how that works. If you go up to the Insert menu, you'll see that there is FontAwesome icon as one of the tools under the drawing tools. Now when you click on this button, you're going to see a whole library of hundreds of possible icons and symbols that you can use. A lot of these you'll recognize because there'll be some icons and logos from famous companies, the Amazon logo. You'll see a lot of social media symbols from Facebook, Twitter, Skype, Slack, things like that. You'll also see some common symbols like check marks and arrows, close buttons, even logos for credit card processing, American Express, Visa, PayPal button. So these are all FontAwesome icons. Now, what's the advantage of doing this? Well, when you're using what's called a font rather than an image, the page loads differently. It loads faster and it's better. And frankly, these images are more flexible. Now, what's inflexible is that you are using a set library of symbols. It's not like something you can change the shape of, but these are very common symbols, things that you would use for icons in, say, navigation or for just simple links to social networks. I'm going to show you some examples of how I use FontAwesome icons, and you'll see what I mean. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So first of all, we're just going to insert one. I'll grab one sort of at random here. Let's grab this birthday cake. And to put a FontAwesome icon on your page, you just draw it, and it appears. And just like any image, and again, even though it's technically not an image would load slower. An image is a separate file. It's looked at from coding terms as a font, and so that's why it loads faster. Just like any other object, I can double click on it, and it will have a set of properties that I can adjust. For example, it can have its own background. It can be transparent, solid background, gradients, all that kind of stuff. We can change all of that here. So if I was going to put a background behind this particular FontAwesome icon, I could decide what that's going to look like, and we can make those adjustments. I'm going to double click on it again and get rid of that, but that's how you would adjust the background. Let's make that white again. That's what it looks like. And in fact, you can make it transparent. That's probably even better. So we'll leave it at that. And then you can add a border, and that should be self-explanatory, but that border can be solid, dotted, dashed, double grooved, all the stuff you would think. And then that border can have a particular width, a particular radius. It means the rounded corners. That border can have a particular color, and it can have a different color when the mouse hovers over it. So if you were to add a border, a solid border with a width of 2 and a radius of 3 and a color of some kind of purple and a hover color of some kind of red, this is what that looks like. And then if we were to hover over this, we'd have to preview to see what that looks like. If we were to hover over this, you could see that it changes. So anyway, that's how you adjust the style of a FontAwesome icon. So let's get rid of the borders. We don't need any of that. You can also change the hover of the actual icon. So if we wanted this to be its color and we hovered over the icon, again, you can adjust that. So these are just some of the basic principles. I think you'll get the idea. What I want to show you though is you can of course shrink these down and enlarge them really big without really losing too much quality. So you probably wouldn't use a FontAwesome icon this big, but if you did, take a look at it. It's still really crisp. It's still a very crisp object because it's basically just code, CSS code and a font code that makes the page not weigh down with a lot of files or image files. It's just a great alternative whenever you need to add some kind of an icon or button. They make great buttons for linking. You know, you can double click on this and link to anything you want. So it makes a great button, and you've got a huge library of icons to choose from. But let me show you some of the more practical uses of a FontAwesome icon. I'm going to go to my order page, and I'm going to show you that on this page I have a mix, of course, of many objects. I've got text objects here. I've got images. I've got navigation. I've got layers. I've got a lot of different things. But I'm going to show you, I'm going to, in fact, highlight in this video all of the objects on this page that are FontAwesome icons. In fact, let me move the camera down so you get a little better view of it here. All of these objects that you're looking at are FontAwesome icons. And you notice that I can pick the colors I wanted them to be, and they just work great. Especially down here where I have all these check marks in my order chart here, when people are choosing a package they want to purchase for 90-second website builder. Rather than have a number of images repeating on this page, which would make the page very heavy. If you have a lot of image files, it can make the page load slow. But because I'm using FontAwesome icons, it's just a very fast loading page. And all of these are just basically the same font, the same object, just with different colors. So it's a great use of the FontAwesome icon tool. Also on this page, you'll see I have these social media buttons right here. These are FontAwesome icons. Even this navigation, this is called a responsive menu, has the ability to use FontAwesome icons, and so I've done that. It's a great tool for building a responsive page. So you don't have to use FontAwesome for everything, but there are certain things that it really works great for. Let me show you one other thing that's true about the FontAwesome library. It's actually built into many of the navigation tools. So for example, this navigation bar right here is called the responsive menu. It's in the navigation tools. If you go over here to the toolbox and we go down to navigation, it's actually this object called the responsive menu. So I've selected it here. I'm going to double click on it and show you how I set this up. Here are all of my menu items. If I double click on one of them to edit it, you can see that I have the option of adding an icon. And these icons are FontAwesome icons. And so the whole library is here. And I did that for each one of these. So obviously for home, I picked the little home. Sometimes you get creative. For features, I picked something that looked like it fit that word. But again, I have access to hundreds of them here. And I just went through and did that for each of these objects. That's true for several navigation objects. You can also see if you use the Breadcrumb object. Let me grab that. I'll put a breadcrumb up here. If you double click on it, you can add icons right here to the objects or the menu items in your breadcrumbs. And again, there's where the FontAwesome would appear. FontAwesome is something that appears in navigation tools, or you can just simply go up to the insert menu and insert a FontAwesome icon. Let me show you one other one here. So the panel menu is another navigation tool that has FontAwesome built into it. So I'll just draw one out here, and panel menu is usually just kind of a button like this. But when you double click on it, again, you can edit the menu items, and there's your FontAwesome icon option. And again, access to the full FontAwesome library. So learn to use FontAwesome, get creative with it, and you'll see that it's great for adding social media buttons, credit card processing buttons, just buttons that you want to link to other pages or other websites. FontAwesome, it's a great tool and a great feature in 90-second website builder.